Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're gonna talk about Lewis Crocker, the IBF welterweight champion of the world, demanding that Devin Haney fight next, and what that could mean for the welterweight division. We're gonna talk about Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul's press conference. We're gonna get into the media workouts as well, man. We're going to speak on what possible game plans may be for the both of these guys. Then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. But before we get into that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'll be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,200 mark. About to hit that 3,300 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? How we feeling? How we feeling? Hope everything is well with you and yours. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? What's going on? Shout out to my people out there, man. Shout out to my boy Lorenzo and the motherfucking Benzo. Shout out to my boy Go787. What up? Chris Maldonado. Dangerous Desires Bullies. What up? How we feeling? How we feeling? How we feeling? Let me know. Let me know. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're definitely in the building. Shout out to the nation and the mob. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired of this shit, y'all. So we're gonna try to run through this shit. You know what I mean? Had some great conversations. We ain't gonna rush that. But definitely ain't gonna be on here no 2-3 hours. That definitely ain't gonna be the move. My son woke up. What time Michael woke up?
6:20.
Boy woke up way too early. I don't know what woke him up.
He woke up before my alarm.
Yeah, he woke up early. He was like trying to open my eyelids while I was sleeping. Then you gave him the tablet, and the thing about him is it needs to be max volume for him. If you lower it, he turns it back up. So anyway, it was no way for me to sleep, bro. And I went to sleep at like what? Two something. Only slept like a good 3 hours. 3 hours is some change. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I ain't feeling too crazy, but it is what it is. The grind don't stop. The grind don't stop. So we cool. My boy Bullies is in the building. He said, I've been here since the 1,200 mark or so. You doing your thing. Damn, for real? That's what's up, man. Salute, brother. We man, listen, we gonna keep climbing, man. We gonna hit that 4K, that 5K, that 6K. I don't give a fuck how long it take. We gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? Lorenzo said had that Coco Melon on blast. Nah, he don't. He used to watch Coco Melon, but I don't really have him watching that no more. Now I got him watching like shit that's a little bit more educational, and now I got him into like these games on his tablet, like where he's tracing letters and stuff like that. Now I got him into letter tracing right now. That's what I got him doing. They're like shapes and educational apps about like colors and shit like that. So trying my best. He picking the words up though, so he's doing well. My boy Chris Maldonado in the building. He said Jake posting AI gay shit with him and AJ again. Yeah, bro. Like that's weird. Like I don't even understand why he is deciding to take that route. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like if that's the type of troll you is, it's cool. You know what I mean? We all went to school with niggas who somehow, some way found it entertaining to be gay or do gay shit. Like I don't know why people think that shit is funny, because in reality, that's a lifestyle. And a lot of people claim that you homophobic when you get uncomfortable when people act gay. The whole time, them thinking that gay shit is funny, that may be homophobia on their fucking part as well. So the fuck, like if you walking around acting gay, that's you making fun of them, right? So it's like I don't know, bro. I don't know. Jake Paul happens to be one of those individuals. You feel me? Like he's super weird. But what I noticed with Jake that makes it even more weird is that he only acts gay, or do gay shit when it's black men. And I ain't gonna lie, I noticed a lot of motherfuckers from the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I mean? Them pink people. They always seem to be the ones who uh seem to have some type of infatuation with black men. You know what I mean? Feel inferior to black men. Like always bring up motherfuckers dick sizes and um little weird stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Fantasizing and they super weird, bro. Like I could never get on board with that. That type of shit is not funny to me. That's not entertaining to me. You know. But to each his own, man. Clearly, he got a different type of humor than we do, so it is what it is. That's just Jake Paul for you. He's super weird. And what's crazy is I think he either engaged or just got married or some shit to like this girl who's like an Olympian or something. I don't know, bro. Super weird. That's all I gotta say about that. Yeah, yeah, it's super weird, bro. That's what Slime posted it in the group chat, and I cursed him out. I'm like, bro, why would you post that in a group full of men? Like, I don't understand that. Go 787 snap. He said, I don't support that. I don't support none of that gay shit. Hey man, you inside that shit prerogative, brother. That's what I say. Like, I mean, I personally, as long as you ain't involved, you ain't trying to involve me in that shit, you can do as you please. You feel me? But oh yeah, yeah, like yeah, Jay. I actually remember that when Jake Paul had did that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, where did you get that from? The fact, like, this nigga was he was punching a black dildo like a speed bag. That's some weirdo shit. And the fact that the dildo was black just goes to further prove my point of him like having this weird infatuation with black men. Um, it's super weird. And it's like, did you go out of your way to buy that? Like, how did you feel as a man ordering that? How did you feel as a man getting that shit sent in a package to your house? Like I don't know, bro. Like that shit a no go with me. Like women, they could do that because that's their thing. You feel me? But yeah, that's super weird, bro. Super weird. But anyways, we ain't about to even dwell on that, man. Let's talk about some things that's actually relevant and going on in the boxing world, or something that could push the boxing culture forward. And that's the welterweight division. Two champions that are currently in the welterweight division. Devin the Dream Haney, somebody who just picked up the WBO welterweight title after defeating Brian Norman. Not that long ago. You see what I'm saying? And Devin Haney's the new champion in the division. Lewis Crocker is the IBF welterweight champion of the world. Picking up one of Jaron Ennis's former titles after beating Paddy Donovan by split decision not that long ago as well. So both of these guys are recent champions in the division. And, Devin Haney has been looking for the next big opponent. And, Bill Haney has, he put that list out there and he's been trying to target these guys to get in the ring and fight his son. Guys like, Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia is caught up with the Mario Barrios fight, supposedly in February. Still haven't heard an announcement on that yet, but sometime soon they should be announcing that. He was looking for the Rolly Romero fight, but Rolly Romero literally admitted that he don't want nothing to do with Devin Haney. He doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. You know what I mean? He didn't really list his reasons. He tried to downplay Devin, talk about how he sued people and shit like that, but we all know what time it is. Rolly Romero don't like that style. He sparred Devin Haney before. He know that's not a good style matchup for him, and he will ultimately get embarrassed. You know what I mean? That's just the reality. You feel what I mean? And if he felt any other way about it, then I'm sure he would have fought Devin Haney. Because there's not many fights. Y'all let me know, y'all. How many fights are in the welterweight division that'll be more, like a bigger payday than a Devin Haney fight at 47 right now? You know what I mean? And the reason why y'all can say Ryan Garcia, they fought already. There ain't gonna be no demand for that rematch. Ryan Garcia didn't make that fight close. That wasn't competitive. We seen Ryan Garcia lay an egg in that ring with Rolly Romero. People not gonna buy in to see that again. What? So they could watch Ryan Garcia be scared of this man's power again? No. So you tell me, out of all of Rolly Romero's options right now, which one would it be a bigger fight? Y'all can't say Manny Pacquiao neither, because I don't recall Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios doing record-breaking numbers. Manny Pacquiao was the man in the early the early 2010s, like the 2010 time frame. It was like, all right, you know what I mean? You on to something. But Manny Pacquiao, you know, he's still an icon, still a first ballot Hall of Famer, still an absolute legend. But he's not that big draw that he used to be. Not everybody popping out wanting to see Manny Pacquiao right now. When you think of Manny Pacquiao, you thinking of Unk, you thinking of OG, you thinking of grandfather. And Manny Pacquiao is actually a grandfather. So it's like we not really looking for him no more. You know what I mean? You gonna get a couple dollars with Manny Pacquiao, no doubt. You know what I mean? You're gonna get, but Manny Pacquiao not even looking Rolly Romero away. So all big money fights at 147 come across Devin Haney. It is what it is. Motherfuckers don't like it, but what people don't know is that you literally make him the star that he is because you checking for him, you talking about it, you making him more relevant. The more relevant you make this man, the more of a draw that he becomes. The more you talk about him, the more relevant he becomes. The more relevant he becomes, the bigger the paydays are going to be. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. All y'all doing is just playing into that man's hand, whether you're talking positively or negatively about him. It is what it is. So Lewis Crocker, you know what I mean? He has some fights that he's been looking for. He actually has spoke on the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn doesn't really want to look his way because he has a problem about the rehydration clause. He hasn't been at welterweight, 147. He hasn't been there in about 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be tough for him to come back down, boil down in weight to 147 pounds, and then have to deal with a 10-pound rehydration clause. It's going to be pretty difficult for him, especially when he hasn't made the weight in a while. So I kind of understand Conor Benn's perspective from that. I can understand that perspective. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Conor Benn, if you this so-called, a big fighter or a great fighter that you claim to be, then, even with that 10-pound rehydration clause, you still should be able to beat somebody like Lewis Crocker. You feel me? But he doesn't want to look in that direction. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to deal with that rehydration clause, whatever. That's just his viewpoint on things. You know what I'm saying? But, Lewis Crocker, speaked on, possibly facing Devin Haney. And this is what he had to say about it. You know what I mean? And let's just hear what Lewis Crocker has to say. This is Lewis Crocker, the IBF welterweight champion of the world right now.
What's your plans for 2026?
Well, ideal world, I would love to fight Devin Haney next for a unified title. You know what I mean? That's the biggest fight in the division. Plenty of options, but if you're asking me, that's the fight that I want next.
Conor Benn's a few rows down there. Do you fancy a fight with him?
Oh, of course, it's an entertaining fight for the fans, but obviously he's locked up. He's monitoring for the WBC, and if I still have my title around him, which it will, it's a great fight to make in the future.
Right. What's your plans for 2026?
Y'all heard him. Lewis Crocker, they asked him, what is his plans for 2026? And the first name he mentioned was Devin Haney in unification fight. Conor Benn was also brought up, but he like, Conor Benn, he going the WBC route. So, you know what I mean? It seems like his mind is set on unification fights. Now, can Lewis Crocker be capping? Possibly, because people say these types of things all the time, but behind the scenes, they're not willing to accept fights. But I heard Eddie Hearn say that he's not necessarily against the fight. Do I think that he wants to give Devin Haney, somebody who's not signed to Matchroom Boxing, an opportunity to take one of his fighters' belts? No, but that at the same time, if the money is right, if Turkey Al-Sheikh is putting the bread up for the unification fight, it's going to be hard for Eddie Hearn to turn that down because he probably not, going to see that type of money with Lewis Crocker. You know what I mean? Like Lewis Crocker, he's from Northern Ireland, from what I understand. He may be a name over there, but internationally, he's not. So maybe they'll give him a number that he can't refuse. You know what I mean? And if Lewis Crocker really puts the pressure, Eddie Hearn ain't going to have no choice but to take that fight. You see what I mean? So, man, what do I personally think about this fight? I think it's an excellent fight for the welterweight division. Somebody like me, Mazuma TV, and everybody in the nation that be in the comments section, they tell you all the time, we love unification fights. There's nothing like fighters getting all of the belts at the end of the day. Undisputed is what I want to see as a boxing fan across all divisions. Across all divisions. That's all we really want in the sport of boxing. We want to see one champion in each division. You know what I mean? We want to see one champion get big wins throughout their career, build their legacies. You know what I mean? Become pound-for-pound level fighters, become international boxing Hall of Famers, possibly become all-time greats like we just seen with Terrence Crawford, who just retired yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And Devin Haney, he's on route to becoming the first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. I think he's in the Hall of Fame already based off of what he's accomplished thus far in his career. Former undisputed champ, you know what I'm saying? 140-pound champion, 147-pound champion, 3-division champion overall. What's that? A 6-time world champion in 3 different divisions. Like you got to give Devin Haney kudos for that. And then on top of that, Devin Haney's very young. He's very young, accomplishing these type of things. Like people retire with those type of accolades. Devin Haney still probably got another decade left of his career. You see what I'm saying? So, hey man, I love it. You know what I mean? If Lewis Crocker was to fight Devin Haney, I would definitely be okay with that. Devin Haney was trying to look for these bigger fights, so I don't want anybody discrediting Lewis Crocker as an opponent. If this was Devin Haney's next fight, I don't need nobody crying and complaining, saying how Devin Haney cherry picking. You can't cherry pick a unification fight, bro. There's no way to justify. There's no way for you to say that that's a cherry pick. The man's a champion in his own right. You feel what I'm saying? So how can you call a champion? If you're a champion and you fighting another champion, how could you call that other champion a cherry pick? It's impossible in my opinion. Now, can they be great champions or one of the best champions in boxing? Absolutely not. But at the same time, he did what he had to do to get that world title. He had it. He earned it. He beat Patty Donovan. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to see that unification fight. And I watched Lewis Crocker fight. Lewis Crocker, very economical, to be honest with you. He doesn't seem to be like this high volume puncher. But one thing about Lewis Crocker that could play a factor in the fight is that he's really sneaky. Really sneaky. I was watching that Patty Donovan fight, and he got a sneaky counter left hook. Sneaky. It's like you don't really even see it coming. You know what I mean? Like he shells up, he lets you get some shots off, and right in between one of those shots that you throwing, he throws a bomb. He throws that bomb left hook right off the rip. Like you don't even see it. It's unexpected. You know what I'm saying? And he had hurt Patty Donovan with that, and he even got a knockdown. So Lewis Crocker got some power. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't really look like the biggest pressure fighter. Doesn't seem like the most volume-based puncher neither. Based off of what I've seen, I would have to watch a little bit more. But he got a little bit of steam on that left hook, and he looks like he got some solid counter punching ability, and he looked like he got some power on that right hand as well. You know what I mean? And he's not the slowest fighter neither. So Devin Haney's definitely going to have to, box real smart, throw some feints out there, keep Lewis Crocker's timing off. You know what I'm saying? I see Devin Haney dominating with that jab, you know what I mean? Outboxing him, frustrating Lewis Crocker. I can see Crocker trying to find that big shot. Devin Haney's not going to give him that big shot, similar to the Brian Norman situation. Devin Haney really utilizes his feints well along with his jab. It's going to be a lot of right hands that's going to be, opening up for Devin Haney to execute. I've seen some moments where Crocker was really vulnerable to the body as well. So I just see like a really well-rounded performance from Devin Haney if he were to fight Lewis Crocker. I think he'll stunt all over Lewis. But at the same time, with motherfuckers like Lewis Crocker, you can't get too greedy with them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be patient. You gotta be focused. You gotta be disciplined defensively because you sleep on Lewis Crocker a little bit. That could play to his benefit, and that may be the reason why, you know what I mean, you may get hurt, you may get dropped, you may get stopped. You see what I'm saying? So I like Devin Haney's chances in that fight. I think he'll be a huge favorite going into that fight, and I think he'll. I don't know exactly what Lewis Crocker's durability is like. That I don't know. So I don't know if he could. I don't know if he could take a Devin Haney shot, or he has a chin good enough to last 12 rounds. But one thing I will say is that I'm happy if this fight happens. If this fight happens, I'll be a happy man for sure. Because it's the best. It's the best remaining option for Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's going on amongst the champions in boxing. They all occupied. They all occupied, bro. Barrios occupied with Ryan Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Rolly Romero, he don't want to fight. He don't want to fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what else is there to do? What else is there to do? They did it to Canelo at 68. Wait, what you mean? Bethaniel says, salute Haney versus Crocker. Sounds nice. Would Eddie try to block that fight from happening? Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, like that's a possibility. If Eddie, because like I said, Eddie Hearn may be trying to hold on to that belt. You know what I'm saying? He probably don't want to. He don't want to put Lewis Crocker up against Devin Haney because he knows for sure, one, that's a bad style for Lewis Crocker, and two, why would he want to give up that belt? Why would he want to give up leverage as a promoter? Because the more champions that a promoter has, the more powerful they are in reality, right? If you have a bunch of contenders, how successful of a promoter are you really? If you got a bunch of prospects, are you really that great of a promoter? But if you host multiple, if you have multiple world champions, if you are the home of multiple world champions, that speaks to your brand. That speaks on how top tier of a promoter you are. Would he want to give up leverage in terms of losing champions in his stable just to give Devin Haney an opportunity, somebody that, he's been having quarrels with, somebody who, he's had some hidden animosity for, somebody that, at one point in time he was doing business with, but, he was essentially cut from being the middleman, and now Devin's dealing directly with Turki Al-Sheikh. Does he really want to give Devin Haney that opportunity to take one of the belts from his stable and become more powerful without having some type of, contractual, something in contract with him? That's gonna be hard to believe. The money is gonna have to be really good for Eddie Hearn to be cool with it. That's what I think. So it's like, all right, man, like I might have lost Lewis Crocker as a champion, but I got a little nice percentage off of this fight. That'd be the only way I can see it happen. And if it's regular money, Eddie Hearn ain't going for it. So Turkey may have to overpay for Lewis Crocker. Bethaniel says, actually, I just thought about it. Eddie probably wants Paro or Catterall to get that fight. Absolutely. Absolutely. You think about it, Bethaniel, if you was a promoter. You got Liam Paro in your stable. I think Paro's still with Matchroom Boxing. Let me check. Is he? I had heard something, but I don't know if it was about Liam Paro. Let me see. Yeah. What? Yeah, I think he's still with Matchroom Boxing. So would he rather, because that's what Google says, I'm not too sure. Would you rather give that opportunity to somebody in Devin Haney who is not contractually, with you, you know what I mean? Somebody, he may possibly take that belt and benefit off of it, and leave you in the dust. Or can you do in-house fights where you're keeping all of the money, you're keeping the world titles, you know what I mean? And shit, you get, from what I understand, you getting percentages off of both guys. So you benefiting all around the board, and that's why a lot of these promoters love to do in-house fights because they ain't got to break the bread down with nobody. They keep all that shit to themselves. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. But like I said, Turki Al-Sheikh is gonna have to play a part in that and giving Lewis Crocker money that he not gonna be able to see anywhere else, money that he may not ever see again. Turkey gonna have to make it do what it do. You know what I'm saying? J Cash said Dav gonna punish every Hearn fighter that get in front of him. Completely outclass them, make them look dumb. Ain't nobody at welterweight that's an Eddie Hearn stable that could beat a Devin Haney, in my opinion. I don't think Conor Ben does it. I don't think Lewis Crocker does it. I don't think Liam Paro does it. I don't think any of them dudes. Or Jack Cat, I don't even think Jack Catterall gets it done. No disrespect to Jack Catterall. He trained in Philly now with Bozy and all them, but and Catterall is a quality guy. Like, his last fight, I loved his last fight. Did his thing, but he ain't got the tools to beat no Devin the Dream Haney, in my opinion. Young T USA says Mazuma Devin got to really step to Crocker and show a different side of his game like Shakur did with Cepeda. I mean, well, he stood in the pocket. He stood in the pocket with Brian Norman. He ain't moved that much with Brian Norman. You know what I'm saying? So why Why does Devin Haney really got to step to Crocker? Why would he got to do that? As far as I'm concerned, the only thing he got to do is beat him. Just because Shakur did that with Cepeda don't mean Devin got to do that with Crocker. This ain't no monkey see, monkey do shit. You know what I'm saying? The objective is to win. And, you know, everybody had these pushing these narratives about Devin that he was chinny and that he's just going to run and, you know, he's not going to sit in front of Brian Norman. And the reality is he didn't run. When he did get hit, he took the shots well. And he outclassed Brian Norman, and he didn't get knocked out. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think he necessarily has to fight and step to, you know, Young T or anything. I don't think he got to step to Lewis Crocker at all. I think he just needs to be himself. I think that'll be enough to get the victory. I think Devin Haney's world-class jab, his hand speed, his foot speed whenever he needs it, you know what I mean, his overall boxing experience, I think all around the board, he's better than Lewis Crocker. Lewis Crocker's sneaky with his counters, though. He looked like he got some steam on that left hook. He got a nice right hand. Looked like he just got power overall. But, you know what I mean? I think with Devin Haney's experience and overall intelligence, I think he got what it take to really disarm Lewis Crocker and dominate him for 12 rounds. He definitely did what he wanted against. He landed 70 punches. To me, he doesn't look the same. If he can keep winning, landing 70 punches, that's a beastie stat itself. Well, the reality is, Bullies, whether you feel like he doesn't look the same or not, 70 punches was all he needed to win the fight. You know what I'm saying? How many punches Brian Norman landed? Not 70. I'm sure he landed less than 70 punches. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, he could have picked up the offense more. Yeah, he could have took more chances. But you know what would have happened? If he would have took extra chances and Brian Norman clipped him or made him pay for it, you know what motherfuckers would have said? Damn, man, Devin should have boxed, man. You know, Devin shouldn't have stood there with Brian Norman. He got too greedy. That's exactly what they would have said. Devin Haney did what he needed to do in order to secure the W. That's what matters. So if you feel like he's different, you know what I mean, that's your opinion. I can't change that. And you may very well be right. Maybe that Ryan Garcia fight did change him. But one thing we can't say is that he's chinny. You can't say that he ran from Brian Norman. And you can't say that he's not, one of, if not the best welterweight in the world right now. That's just my viewpoint on it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I think. So all in all, man, I'm happy that Lewis Crocker is speaking on, facing Devin Haney, wanting to be for unification fights. And I'm gonna tell you this, Rolly. If Lewis Crocker ends up solidifying this fight with Devin Haney and going up for a unification fight when he just got the belt, brother, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. All that shit you talked about Devin Haney, you his biological father, he has, inferior genetics, and you talked all types of shit about Devin Haney as if he was a nobody or you were above him or he was below you, but when it comes to actually fight this guy that you claim has, weak genetics and shit like that, you know what I mean? You can't muster up the courage to, accept the offer, get a contract sent your way. You was acting so scary that you ain't even want to hear, you ain't even want to negotiate. You ain't want to get an offer sent your way, nothing. You ain't want to be persuaded, nothing. You just don't want nothing to do with this man. And it just shouts scary. And that's why I always laugh when people be like, they fighters, man. They fighters. They've been boxing their whole life. They're not scared of nobody. Bro, if that ain't fear, then what the fuck is that? What is that? If a motherfucker say, if he's a champion and there's another champion in his division, he was like, I just don't want to fight him. I just don't want to fight him. What? How can you not sound like a bitch saying that? Why didn't he call me out after his last fight? Why didn't he call me out after I beat Ryan? When the fuck does it matter? There's a time frame for call outs now. If we still relevant fighters, it don't matter whether I called you out a month ago or I called you out 5 years later. If a call out's a call out, you gotta respond to it. And if you don't, you look like you pussy. It is what it is. And it ain't like Rolly Romero got something lined up right now. It ain't like you about to fight Ryan. It ain't like you about to fight Pacquiao. It ain't like you about to fight, Conor Bent. Like, you not fighting none of them. You available just like Devin available. You just don't want to fight because you don't like your chances in that fight. That's what it comes down to. And because you don't like your chances in that fight, you are fearful. You are fearful of that man. All that shit you talked about him just to be scared of the nigga. Ain't that some shit? The same nigga you talk down on, you don't want to fight because you fear what he may possibly do to you. It's embarrassing, bro. And I had Rolly Romero on the channel. Y'all can go look up that interview that I had with him. Me and him was cool. Started off a little rocky, but we got cool. We spoke. You know what I mean? We had a understanding and all that. But, you know what I mean? Like, post Ryan Garcia victory, you know what I mean? He started talking to me like I was anybody. Like, he said some shit like, I ain't doing no interviews. I'm like, what? Nigga, last time we spoke, you was with it. I ain't doing no interviews. I ain't got nothing to announce. Ain't no reason for me to do an interview. But everywhere I look on YouTube, nigga, you doing interviews. So you just you blatantly choosing not to do an interview with me. All right, that's cool. That's cool, but I can't respect you you treat Mazuma TV like that, but you ain't treating them other motherfuckers like that. They pulling up with you on cameras, and you sitting there, you sitting there drinking out a big ass cup of juice, and you over here talking about ducking niggas. But you can't come on the channel and speak to us though. I don't know, bro. This boxing shit just be real funny, bro. Should just be hella funny. Bully said, I heard do position for a voluntary. You must be talking about Rolly Romero. Yeah, because Giasov is mandatory. But Giasov, we can't blame nobody but Giasov because all Giasov be doing is be taking that step aside money. But who else do PBC has for a welterweight? Manny Pacquiao. See, Rolly had told me a couple months back that he had 3 options. Told me he had 3 options. He said Ryan Garcia rematch, Mario Barrios, which I was really rooting for him to get, or Manny Pacquiao. I did say that, bro. I'm tired of shit, so my brain fried. So if I repeat myself or I say some shit that don't make sense, just forgive me. I think the options were Ryan Garcia rematch, Mario Barrios, Manny Pacquiao. Barrios and Ryan about to fight each other. 2 out of the 3. 2 out of the 3 fell through. That just leaves Manny Pacquiao. But Manny Pacquiao not even bringing up your name. He talking about Rumble and Floyd. This nigga rather do a rematch with Floyd than fight you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, bro. We're gonna see what Rolly got coming up. But Rolly, the one serious conversation we had, he still ain't had nothing lined up. Still ain't had no announcement, nothing in play, nothing. He said he sat around for 6 months waiting for Ryan Garcia to try to get a rematch done with him just for Ryan to go fight Barrios instead. Fake sipping on a big bottle of juice. Facts. But Rolly Romero disappointing because, even though I think Devin Haney would beat Rolly could really present some issues to Dev. Like that unorthodox pressure fighting, let your hands go, punch with bad intentions. Like you could make the fight interesting. I think Dev will beat you. But I think you could really make the fight interesting. But you don't believe in yourself. Rolly said that Ryan Garcia had let him on for like 6 months or some shit, making it seem like he was going to take the rematch the whole time. He was never down with the rematch. He went and picked Barrios instead. And if I'm Ryan, knowing myself, like if I was Ryan, that was a smart move for Ryan to do. You can't beat Rolly. But there's another world title opportunity over here with a belt that just put me back in the rankings because I stopped saying racist shit, so they forgave me. And these motherfuckers is cool with niggas being drug cheats, the WBC. Because all they gonna do after testing positive is just find you not guilty and just let you go on about your career. That's all they're going to do. So that's the perfect place for somebody like Ryan Garcia, who's Mexican, somebody who's a fucking PED user. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody who, tends to be a bit controversial. The WBC is the perfect home for Ryan Garcia. And plus, Ryan Garcia is a popular name, and the WBC love having popular people fighting for their belts. Blaze pound for pound says, I think Devin should fight Lewis Crocker and then fight the winner of Ryan versus Barrios. I think that'd be a great idea, man. And I think that's what Turkey Al-Sheikh trying to cook up for real. I think what they're going to personally try to do is have these guys win their next fight. You know what I mean? So Devin may face Crocker. You know what I'm saying? Barrios and Ryan a fight. A lot of people are assuming that Ryan Garcia is going to beat Mario Barrios. So at the end, it'll be, and a lot of people are assuming Devin Haney's going to beat Crocker. That we'll see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia part 2. A grudge match, a personal joint. You know what I mean? These guys don't like each other. A lot of controversy in their first fight. You know what I mean? Ryan Garcia punished Devin Haney, knocked him down several times, got the victory just to find out that the motherfucker was a PED user. So they reversed that. Nobody beat each other. Ryan didn't beat Dev. Dev didn't beat Ryan. So now they got to run it back. What's his name? Mardo Tarachi. He says, I ain't going to lie. It's going to get dark for Ryan if he loses to Barrios. If Ryan loses to Barrios, because this should be like his safest bet. No disrespect to Mario Barrios, but you had 2 world title fights. He had 2 Mario Barrios had 2 world title fights before Barrios. Ryan Garcia had 2 world title fights before Barrios. One of them was Gervonta Davis, somebody who beat Mario Barrios himself. Then you had Rolly Romero, who is a lot more dangerous than Mario Barrios at this point in time. So, if you lose into those type of guys and then you get faced and somebody in Mario Barrios who's as experienced but not as good as them, you gotta show out. You got to show out. You see what I'm saying? Like, and if you don't show out against Barrios or you even lose to Mario Barrios, you ain't never getting a world title, brother. I promise you that. Like, there's no way. Like, you was at 35, you wasn't able to get the title. 40, you wasn't able to get a title. Now you at 47. If you don't beat Barrios and you lose to him, like back-to-back world title fight L's, yeah, you need to go ahead and get them gloves up, nigga. Yeah, bro. You know what's crazy, though? Thank Father, you saying that this is last shot. And for real, for the average motherfucker, it might just be their last shot. But something just tells me that even if he were to lose to Barrios, that won't be Ryan's last opportunity. It really won't. I just don't see that happening. Like, I think they're going to find it. They probably will fall back for a little bit, let Ryan get some wins up. And, they end up matching him with another champion. They love Ryan Garcia. They love Ryan Garcia. They want that man. Like I've been telling y'all from the very beginning, a lot of people are hung up on Ryan because they more focused on what he may be instead of what he may become instead of who he truly is. You know what I mean? Like when a lot of people are fans of Ryan Garcia, they think about shit that he might do, shit that he may possibly do. But, you know what I mean? They never take into consideration what he's doing right now, which is nothing, losing. Ryan is enrolled in VADA. According to Devin Haney, he after he lost to Rolly Romero, that he ain't been in 365 testing since then. They'll find a way to give Ryan another opportunity. They're going to keep shooting until Ryan get that world title. The type of support that man get is insane. He could become a streamer. Them streamers is the new athletes. They the new ball players in terms of like money. heard them niggas get paid. Mr. Beast, Kai Sanat, I Show Speed. Them niggas get Aiden Ross. What's that little fucking what's that? Neon. I mean, like them niggas get paid, bro. Vada posted it. Well, that's what's up. But there's a difference between Vada testing and Vada 365 testing. Because I think with regular Vada testing, they test you when from what I understand, they test you when like you're in camp or like your fight's official. 365, that means they could test you whenever, out of competition, in competition. It could be 4 in the morning out in Hawaii somewhere. It could be 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon at the gym. They pulling up on you, and you need to give that shit up right then and there. You need to give up blood. You gotta give up urine, and there's like no exceptions. You know what I mean? Southwest said Ryan back on it. That's crazy because I seen this motherfucker. Now you see him like I seen him like boxing Krishan Rock, and you know what I mean? He's like attitude, like all uppity and all that shit. He low key be having like little like spaz out sessions on Twitter, and then on top of that, I seen this man pumping weights, and he looked bigger than a motherfucker, just like how he did for the Dev fight. I wouldn't doubt it at all, man. Ryan Garcia, he's somebody who lacks accountability. Yeah, you could tell Ryan was somebody who grew up and never really had to deal with consequences. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I acted up in school, I knew what my mom was gonna do to me. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom, I already knew. I knew what consequences was gonna come from me acting a fool in school. But Ryan, like, I'm trying to be careful with what I say. But you could tell that like he knew he could do crazy shit because he knew that nobody was really gonna do nothing to him about it. So that's one thing about kids, bro. They gonna keep pushing to see how much they can get away with for you. Like they do little temperature checks. You know what I mean? Like my son, he be doing little shit, and I be like, yo, cut it out. And like he'll keep doing it, and then I gotta correct him. Then he like, all right, then he won't do it again. Kids love to test your limits, and Ryan must have been somebody who habitually tested his parents' limits, never see no consequences. So he like, all right, well, I mean, if they ain't doing nothing, ain't nobody gonna do shit to me. And I heard him say that before on Twitter. He was like, oh, ain't nobody gonna do shit. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna run up on me, ain't nobody gonna do shit. And they didn't. Blaze pound for pound said, I hope Ryan is clean and he succeeds because I want the rematch against Devo Devin. I would love to see that. You know what I mean? And watch how that rematch look totally different, bro. Watch how that rematch look totally different. And when Ryan lose, he going to have all the excuses in the world. But anyways, before we get up out of here, man, because we 43 minutes in, shout out to everybody that's coming through and showing love. Shout out to the 40 people that's in the building. I love it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely a little out of it right now, but, it is what it is. We're going to catch up on some Z's in a little bit. When Ryan win, I think he's going to want to fight Ben before Dev. I'm going to tell you this, Dank. Conor Ben might beat Ryan. And this ain't me caping for no motherfucking Conor Ben. He a drug cheat, Ryan a drug cheat. I don't give a fuck about who win that fight if they were to rumble. But I think Conor Ben will beat him. Conor Ben got the speed. He's more he has more versatility offensively. He's more explosive than Ryan. Ryan got faster hands, but faster, got like a fast left hook. Like he's fast with like single punches. You know what I mean? Like you don't really ever see Ryan Garcia throwing combinations. It always be like one fast shot, like boom, boom. Like it just be on some quick shit. You know what I'm saying? So he got like a quick. He's quicker with the counters and Conor Ben and stuff like that. And Ryan Garcia got quit in him. So I feel like if Conor was to really hit him with some shit that he don't like, then he gonna go into survival mode. And Dankfather said he could, but Ryan will connect. I mean, he may very well he might connect on Conor Benn, but Conor Benn has actually showed a chin, and in fights. I've seen him get hit with some shit, and I'm like, damn, that motherfucker, he durable, he's sturdy. Ryan definitely a dirty fighter. Southwest Dice know what he talking about. But let's transition on to this press conference, man. Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. I seen Alicia Baumgartner was in the building. I seen it was Anderson Silva's fighting Tyron Woodley. You know what? I'm gonna say this. Shout out to Jake Paul for understanding that every opponent that he's had has built him to where he's currently at in his career. And because of that, and it's not personal for him, he's given these guys that he's beat in the past opportunities. You know what I'm saying? He giving them opportunities to continue feeding their family. Dankfather said Baumgartner was looking good. Fuck her. Anonymous said, I also feel like when Ryan fights recently, he only looks for big moments. He's not really the type to hold up a lead or secure rounds. He's always just trying to land big power shots. Right, and that's a lack of IQ, Anonymous. Like, because if you're an intelligent boxer or you really understand how, like, if you're really about winning, when you're about winning, you're not just looking for a big moment. You know what I mean? You're trying to make sure your opponent don't get no big moments and that you securing these rounds. And just looking for one big moment throughout a round, it could lead you with no moments. And that one round could turn into 3 rounds, the 5 rounds, the 8 rounds. Before you know it, you lost on these scorecards trying to look for one big punch. So that's immaturity at its best. You know what I mean? Just super shitty IQ on Ryan Garcia's part. You know what I mean? He does a lot of things wrong in there. And, because he was facing booty-ass competition on his come-up, he was never able to fix those habits or felt like he needed to. You know what I'm saying? Y'all laughing at me because I said, fuck Alicia. Let me stop. I do feel kind of wrong for talking on Alicia like that. But at the same time, bro, I just don't like how everybody be acting like Alicia she's just solid. Like, she just out here, like, she's so thorough. Like, she the truth. It's like, nah, bro. Y'all can't criticize Ryan and not criticize Alicia. You can't criticize you can't criticize motherfucking John Beck and still be cool with Alicia. Like, nah, bro, she did the same shit them niggas did. She did the same shit Canelo did, Billy Joe Saunders, Oscar Valdez, Julio Cesar Martinez. She's in the same crew, Jaime Munguia, all that. She was sabotaged. Self-sabotage. Ain't nobody force her to put shit in her mouth. She could fight. She ain't gonna allow nobody to put shit in her mouth that she don't want in there. If that shit in her mouth is voluntarily, trust me. Ain't nobody making that girl do shit that she don't want to do. Her strong ass, her big shoulder, her big trap having ass. Ain't nobody telling that girl to do shit she don't want to do. It's just negligence on her part. That's all. But let's go.
Narrative about like, oh, if Jake does well, then this whole thing's scripted. And obviously Jake's going to take offense to that. But I feel like you should probably take offense to that because the people who are suggesting that are kind of questioning your integrity and suggesting your pride's up for sale. Do you think the people who are suggesting that underestimate who you are and your values as a fighter?
I'm not too sure. My mind's not even there, but it's a great question. That's the whole point of this fight. It creates conversation, barbershop conversations, taxi conversations, airplane conversations, and that's what we want. The more people talking about the fight, regardless of what it is that they're talking about, is a massive bonus. So for me, I'm not worried about what people think about the integrity side. I'm more worried about, are they talking? And as long as they are, I think we're doing a good job.
They're definitely talking. Jake's ability as a boxer is kind of a hard one to gauge, right? Because he fights opponents that aren't your traditional boxing.
I was hearing that, Southwest. You said threatening to sue Wilder. Jake Paul was threatening to sue Wilder. What did Wilder say? I've been hearing that Jake Paul been suing niggas or threatening to sue niggas because they've been calling his fights like rigged or set up. You know what I'm saying? But what did Wilder say exactly?
Opponents you'd face at the point of his career. When you look at him and his ability, can you rank him compared to the guys that you have fought in your career? And where would he rank?
Oh, okay. So that's what Wilder said. I mean, yeah, he definitely got a case to sue. You got to be real wise with how the way you word these things. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't say definitively, like, yo, these fights rigged. You could probably word it in a way where it's like you just you're guessing or something like that. Like, you don't know definitively. So you could be like, I don't know, you know, it might be real, but son just be making me feel like this shit rigged. You know what I'm saying? That's when you make it sound like a fact. That's when they could use that against you, you know, in court and, you know, make you pay for ruining their reputation or whatever the fuck the case is.
The start of my career. Yeah, he'll be someone I would have fought early on in my career. Yeah, I got a lot of experience. The start of my career.
Wait, what?
You have fought. Look at him and his ability. Can you rank him compared to the guys that you have fought in your career? And where would he rank?
The start of my career. Yeah, he'll be someone I would have fought early on in my career.
This nigga Anthony Joshua said Jake Paul would have been somebody that he fought early on in his career. You know what that tells me? That he don't think much of Jake Paul, that the nigga's a tune-up, that this nigga's a stepping stone, that he's nobody of quality. Because who do you typically fight early on in your career? Niggas who got lopsided ass records. Look at the people that, you know, Anthony Joshua has beat early on in his career. You know, he actually beat an 8-0 in his debut. That's impressive. But what I will say is that, you know, 14 and 19s, 5 and 6s, 22 and 15s, you know, 27 and 2s. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he thinks of when it comes to Jake Paul. He thinks that this nigga's like somebody to learn off of, or somebody just to get his feet wet. Like, this he looking at, you know, Jake Paul as like a warm-up fight. You know what I mean? And if you pay attention to what they trying to set in place for Anthony, they saying that he gonna wipe off or dust off Jake Paul real quick, come back in February, you know what I mean, do his thing. And then they talking about him fighting Tyson Fury at the end of the year and a possible retirement fight for AJ. So you got to pay attention to what he's saying. He said it real humbly, so nobody peeped it was a shot. That definitely was disrespect, you know, going in Jake Paul's direction.
Yeah, I got a lot of experience now. But yeah, someone at the start of my career, I'd say. But I don't know who to say exactly. But maybe someone at the start of my career.
Anthony, Charlotte Daly from Daily Mail.
Hello.
I was actually talking to Eddie Hearn recently about this matchup with Jake Paul, and he was saying about the Daniel Dubois defeat, and that potentially it was more painful than people may have anticipated or imagined. Is taking a fight with Jake Paul trying to find that fun again and that enjoyment again in boxing?
Boxing is not such a fun sport. You can't play boxing. So it's not so fun if I'm honest, but it was just a great opportunity to get back in the ring and get back to big time business. As your colleague said, or the person next to you was saying, people are talking about this fight, and that's the whole point of boxing, is to make big noise, be in big fights, and that's exactly what this opportunity brings. So it wasn't so much just for the aspect of, let's get back, let's have a bit of fun. It was, let's make some noise, let's get back at the front of the queue, at the front of the race, and show people why we are the leading fighters in the world and with the best promotional team in the world and the best training team in the world. So yeah, we're at the front again, and December 19th will prove why.
You said about being with the best training team in the world there. We saw you in the ring, lots of movement. What would you say the best or the most significant change you've had since teaming up with the Team Usyk camp?
Maybe that I pray more. That's important.
Yeah, Ghost, that's what I was trying to say. Like, yeah, I mean, legally you can say anything, just don't say that you know for a fact. That's what I meant. That's what I was saying. I said you just can't say it definitively. Like you can't say it as if you know it. You gotta word it in a way where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta say like in my opinion, or I think, or like you can't be like, oh, them fights rigged. Cause it's like, all right, you saying these fights rigged, you throwing dirt on my name. Now you gotta prove it in court. Cause if not, I'm gonna sue you, nigga. You're gonna have to cut a check for playing with my name. So yeah, you just gotta be real careful. Gotta be real careful.
And I learned that from the team, the importance of prayer. So yeah, that's important for me. So yeah, I pray more now.
Hey Jay, just a chapter from the Sun. Interestingly, when Canelo was going to fight Skull, he was going to fight Jake before that, but collapsed.
Why did it collapse?
Who knows?
For whatever reason, yeah.
But he said it was the first time his daughter came home and asked him, are you going to fight Jake Paul? And he said it was the first time any of his kids had ever mentioned boxing to him. Which speaks to the, obviously, impact that Jake has to the younger fans. Does your boy know who Jake is? And has
He's been on for almost an hour, son.
I'm sure he knows who Jake is, but I don't really take boxing home, if I'm honest with you. He hasn't spoken about the fight. I haven't actually spoken to him about the fight. We talk about maths, the purpose of life. I talk to him about confidence, but I don't really talk to him about my career and stuff. Like, son, let me tell you about the jab I threw today in the gym, right? I was slipping this, and he'll be like, shut up, Dad. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really bother him with that talk, but I'm sure he knows. He likes gaming, but it's not a conversation that he brings up and never brought up. And he knows what I do way before Jake Paul. And even now, I'm fighting Jake Paul, he hasn't brought up a conversation because I've never taken boxing past the front door, if I'm honest.
Interestingly, I heard that Jake and you had a phone call, and that's where this all started.
Yeah, I'm managing myself, fighting, managing.
Sometimes that is what it takes. You saw Crawford and Spence did that. You've obviously spent so many years going back and forth with Tyson Fury. Would it not? Is that not what it would take?
I've spoken to Tyson before. Me and Tyson, I actually signed to fight Tyson. I think it was actually around the time I defended the first. Well, not defended, but I put my belts up to fight Usyk. I was supposed to fight Tyson Fury, correct? Yeah, and then Fury had his issues with Wilder and their contractual issues, so they fought a third time. But I've been in a position to fight Fury a number of times, yeah.
But if you and Jake can get on the phone and sort of fight, do you have hope that maybe you and Tyson can even do the same?
Of course, there's hope, especially when you're talking about doing big time boxing.
That shit boring, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. So I'm gonna just go to the media workouts because I heard one of my fighters said that Anthony Joshua, he looks sharp. He working with Alexander Usyk's team, and he's working on angles and stuff like that. I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna give you guys my reaction to what I see in Anthony Joshua's media workout, and I'm gonna let y'all know what I see in Jake Paul's media workout. So, like I said, shout out to Fight Hub TV for the content. They always do a phenomenal job with, getting the footage that we need to see as boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it.
The two men headlining World for Friday night for the big gold medalist.
Don't care about joint work. Look at Anthony Joshua using some body movement. Look at Anthony Joshua showing some upper body movement. Look at him. Protecting the body, catching and shooting. Look at that left hook. Look fast. He being responsible with his defense. Nathaniel said, yeah, the press conference was pretty ass. Carolyn Dubois and Bumgarner had a little trash talk. You know what I want to know? And I'm going to keep asking this. Why are they not talking about Alicia Baumgartner fighting Amanda Serrano? Like, why are they not talking about that? Do they just not want to fight each other? It's just not the direction they want to go in? Do Amanda not want that smoke? Do Alicia not want that smoke? Do they respect each other too much? Why are people not talking about that fight? Like, Alicia's talking about fighting Katie Taylor. Fucking Amanda's over here fighting. She was fighting this girl, but she ended up being a drug cheat. So I think she fighting somebody. She found some replacement woman. But why they not talking about fighting each other? Like, I don't understand. Like, wouldn't Alicia and Amanda Serrano be a big fight for women's boxing? Because they're both cash cows and MVP. Blame Jake Paul. The only one that I see being a cash cow and MVP is Amanda Serrano, not Alicia. What type of numbers Alicia be doing? Do she do crazy numbers? What she do with Michaela Mayer? I ain't never heard none of that shit that she did. I ain't never heard no big fights Alicia did, but Amanda, she did her thing, ran that shit up with Katie Taylor 3 times. I don't know if Alicia Baumgartner a cash cow. Just because she pretty don't make her a cash cow. This nigga said, "Pack me up." Pause. I'm gonna go ahead and do that though. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Thanks. But look at Anthony Joshua taking his head off the line. I mean, I don't really see him using his jab that much, but it's working. He using his feet a little bit. All right. A little bit stiff, you know. I just think that's who Anthony Joshua is for real. I don't think he'll ever be able to get rid of like that robotic shit that he does at times. But he's working on his craft though. One thing you can respect about Anthony Joshua is that he's always seek to learn as much as he could in the sport. Like he wasn't satisfied with just being like this power puncher. You know, he wasn't satisfied with just knocking people out. Like he wanted to understand the science, and he went to multiple places to, you know, get an understanding of it. And although like he's not the most skilled guy, or, you know, it hasn't really resulted in him being like this you know, world level, you know, this like specially skilled fighter, you know, he still did his, you know, his best attempt at, you know, being a skilled fighter. You know what I'm saying? My fault, y'all. My speech all over the place. I'm exhausted. All right, let's take a look right here. Okay, he taking little small steps off the line and shit, throwing his right hand. And one of my predictions that I put out there is that AJ's going to knock Jake Paul out in the 3rd round with a straight right hand. And look at what he's working on. Getting full extension on that right hand. Look at that. Boom. Boom. Good shot. If he catches Jake Paul on the end of that right hand, though, he's going to go to sleep. That's for sure. Look, he using his jab. Look at them little angles. Okay, AJ. I never seen AJ do that in my life. I didn't even think he could do that. Boom, look at that. Oh, slipped over to his right, shifted. You know what I mean? Turning. Look at him. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's dope. That nigga is super weird. Super weird.
You know what's been cool to watch you on social? I know you fought all over the world. You look very calm and collected, and you're having fun. Listen, it's going to be a major.
That was just a little brief situation, just watching Anthony Joshua's media workout. You could tell they definitely working on skills over there, a little bit of upper body movement, a little bit of, shifting after punches and getting that new angle on his opponents. Seen him bringing his hands back nice and tight. They working on some things over there. You know what I mean? That AJ definitely looked like he in shape. Looked like he been training for a while. Don't look like he came up off of the couch or nothing like that. So he doing his thing, and I seen him uh when doing the pad work, catching the pads right at the end of his punches. Beautiful technique. He look all right. He look all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna be able to change. I don't think I don't think Usyk's team can make Anthony Joshua skilled like Usyk or anything like that. But I think they tightening up the little important details so that way he could have like a clean performance. You know what I mean? I'm with it. I understand it. So let's see Jake Paul's media workout.
The man who brought boxing to Nelson Chile.
When I see shadow boxing, I'm looking at things that, first of all, I'm trying to see if you attempting to perfect your technique or working on your technique at least when shadow boxing. And I don't really like to see people do shadow boxing like thoughtlessly. Like I want to see people actually think these things out, visualize scenarios, and work on them. As they're shadow boxing. So what I see right now, Jake Paul. Look at Jake Paul body. Pause. Look how fat he is. Look at him. Look at that gut. No abs. A lot of water. Low key got like a little pouch at the bottom of his stomach. Not necessarily fat, but just real why you laughing? Why the stranger laughing? But look at that little stomach he got. He's not no real heavyweight. And I was telling people that shit yesterday. I mean, actually today. No, we were saying that shit today at the gym. Like, yo, Jake Paul is not no real heavyweight. You know what I mean? Like he's a small cruiserweight, a good sized light heavyweight at best. Like he's not no real heavyweight. You could tell when he get on the scales, at these higher weights, you could see it in his abdominal section. Now look at it. He got like a flat stomach, a little bit of fat. Not in decent shape at all. I mean, he may be like in good shape from like a cardio aspect, but physically, he not all the way there. Motherfucker look like he just skipped his abs overall. That's what it looked like to me. No definition in his, abdominal area whatsoever. Jake Paul got zero head movement when he jab. He do not take his head off the line when he jab. That's very dangerous. Yeah, Jay Leon, pick up his hat, man. Do your job. Pick up his hat, man. You targeting the body, Jake? You going to Anthony Joshua's body? Jake looks strong though. He definitely got some steam on them hooks. Oh, that was all they showed. But his punches look good. Anae J says Joshua might get a mystery injury and somehow the fight goes a distance with it being close on the card. I hope not, brother. I hope that's not the situation at all, man. I'm trying to be optimistic and just say that, this is actually like a real fight. Anthony Joshua is really going to do some damage to this man. I'm out here listening to Sweet Caroline all week. Touching you, sweet Caroline. Oh, oh, oh. I'm on that. I need that. I'm British. I'm British on Friday. I need Anthony Joshua to get the AJ. Fuck this up, bro. He get knocked out, dropped, beat on the scorecards, whatever. Anything like that, bro. I swear to God, I ain't never watching AJ again. I'm never watching AJ again if he let Jake Paul do anything to him. If this ain't like a ass whooping or just a straight up spark, we gonna be disappointed, bro. This shit better not even be remotely. This better not be remotely competitive. Jordan Sheriff in the building. What up, brother? I ain't see you in a hot ass minute. I hope everything well out there in Spain. My brother says salute, Mark. Can't believe this fight is actually gonna happen. I don't, it is though. That's the reality. Like it is. I was surprised as well, but what can we do, man? Jake Paul was able to get this man into the ring, and let's say it's a situation where AJ absolutely knocks the dog shit. Like AJ knocks the dog shit out of Jake Paul. I'm gonna give Jake Paul his respect. You know why? Because there's fighters who've been fighting their whole life that ain't take that chance that Jake Paul took, Friday night. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give him his respect. He ain't had to fight Anthony Joshua for real. He could have fought somebody closer to his weight. But hey man. It is what it is. Go said, but my prediction is AJ by KO in 3 max. That's funny because I had actually said 3 rounds too. I think he gonna stop him in 3 rounds. Latest it goes is 4. If it goes to the 6th, bro, if this fight makes it to the 6th round, we need to get Anthony Joshua the fuck up out of here, bro. Seriously. There's no way. AJ done did 12 rounds for I don't know how long. And done got knockouts against legit pro fighters way before the final bell. So this better be much of the same. Jake Paul is not special. He don't do anything that jump off the page or anything to consider himself unbeatable. None of that. So this need to get done. I think the real question is, Bethaniel says, this is going to be the last question, y'all. He says, I think the real question is, can Paul survive longer than Ngannou? I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Ngannou stood in front of Anthony Joshua and allowed that shit to happen. I think what happened with Francis Ngannou is that, he believed in his ability to take a punch. You know what I'm saying? When he was getting hit by Tyson Fury and all that, he didn't feel that. Or maybe Francis Ngannou is so big on his power that he's willing to, stay in the pocket with somebody who's a big puncher just to see. Just because he's confident that he's going to land his. There's power punchers that put themselves in serious danger because they believe in their power just being the ultimate like equalizer. You know what I'm saying? He stood in front of AJ. AJ dealt with him. And unless Jake Paul is an absolute idiot, Jake Paul is he's going to use his legs. He's going to use his athleticism. He's going to use his, him being a smaller guy to his advantage. He's going to be moving around the ring, you know what I mean? Using speed, getting up out of the way. AJ's timing has to be on 1,000 because one thing about Jake Paul is he's going to be on that bicycle. You know what I mean? AJ got to stay nice and composed. And whenever, Jake Paul tries to jump in with like a jab to the body or a jab up top, AJ has to have those counters ready. And they need to be with bad intentions. Make Jake Paul nervous and attempting to even shoot anything at you. Because AJ's quick enough to get some, catching and shooting off. You know what I'm saying? I can really see that right hand clipping Jake Paul, top of his head, temple, whatever the case is. Because when I'm watching Jake Paul jab, whether he's jabbing to the head, jabbing to the chest, jabbing to the body, his head don't come off the center line, y'all. He stays right there. Go look at that media workout. He's jabbing, jabbing, jabbing. His head staying right on the center line. His head moves slightly over when he shoots the right hand, but the jab work is right here. This is the center line right here, people. Right here, where my nose is at. Boom. That's the center line. This motherfucker's throwing jabs, and he's staying right there. All with Anthony Joshua's height, and he gonna be punching down. The punch is gonna be even more devastating. He could easily catch that jab, shoot his right hand right over it, and really knock Jake Paul lights the fuck out. And like I said, Jake Paul ain't no legit heavyweight, bro. He when he get hit by a legit heavyweight like AJ, he's not gonna be able to take that, bro. He's not. But if this motherfucker AJ make this remotely competitive, he need to just get the fuck up out of boxing. Fuck the Tyson Fury fight. Fuck any future fights you got coming up, bro. You need to stop. But anyways, I'm going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and showed love to the channel. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated, man. My apologies for not being on live as long as I usually do. I am tired. I do need to catch up on some Z's, man. But I made sure I came in and gave y'all a good, 60 minutes, and up. You see what I mean? I'll be back at y'all with another live to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world. Shout out to the nation and the mob. I'll be back at y'all tomorrow to give you like my weigh-in reactions to the fight. All that good stuff, man. I'll be on 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.